Mistakes were made. They were monitoring this guy for an hour beforehand.
Yeah.
No one told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited for 15. They could have said, let's wait for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, something. Nobody said, I think that was a mistake. How did somebody get on that roof, and why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof. I mean, you had Trumpers screaming. The woman in the red shirt, she was screaming, "There's a man on the roof!" And then other people said, "There's a man on the roof who's got a gun," and that was quite a bit before I walked onto the stage. So you would have thought somebody would have done something about it.
Obviously, there are questions that still remain a week later. How was Thomas Crooks able to even take his shot? How did he get on the roof where there were local law enforcement officers inside the same building? Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has been summoned to appear before a House Oversight Committee to explain what took place. Crooks was flagged by authorities for acting suspiciously an hour before the assassination attempt and was spotted on that roof 20 minutes before he opened fire. A roof, as I say, that police were inside that building. Any way you slice it, it was a security failure of the most mammoth proportions. Here's Kimberly being chased at the Republican convention.
This is exactly what you were doing today
This
on the call.
was an assassination attempt. You owe the people answers. You owe President Trump answers.
And look, as Bill pointed out, the way that the agency has handled these questions has left it the conspiracy theories allowed to fester, and they're everything from this is an inside job to the Iranians being behind it all. I mean, look, Evelyn, some of those don't add up for me. I mean, why get a 20-year-old with manic depressive disorder, a major depressive disorder, to conduct a hit? A very difficult hit, I would say. You have more experience on this with your background in the police force. But what's your feeling about this all now, a week on?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned conspiracy theories, because at the moment, that's exactly what's happening. But you have it on both sides of the fence. On one side of the fence, you have people saying, you know, it's an inside job. People wanted Trump assassinated. The Secret Service let it happen. And then on the other side, you have Democrats and you have more left-sided people saying Trump staged it, Trump faked it. And what does this tell you? Because regardless of what you look at, you have to ask, why are both sides coming to the conclusion that none of this makes sense? It's because it doesn't, and because it shouldn't have happened. And so when you look at that, you have to say there's obviously a lot of issues here that need to be delved through. There's a lot of questions that need answering. But from a law enforcement perspective, this never should have happened. It's a monumental failure. I said this last week when I spoke about it, that there's only two options here. And the option is that it was known about, which we don't have evidence. We have conspiracy theories at the moment. And sure, I'm not saying, that all of those might be necessarily wrong. We don't know yet. But it's either that or a monumental stuff up that never should have happened. There was this particular shooter was flying a drone around the entire thing, like well before the event had even begun. Like you said, I think the Secret Service came out and said it's too dangerous for law enforcement officers to be on the roof. Well, is it more dangerous than them standing in front of the president to get shot by a bullet? Yeah. I don't think so. That's a cop-out.
Yeah, when it comes to conspiracy or cock-up, it is always a cock-up. And all these conspiracy theories fall over at the first hurdle, and the hurdle is about that high. Firstly, if you were really going to take out Donald Trump, you would get this 20-year-old kid from the local with no record.
Hey, look, he actually had a perfect shot. Let me just say, no, it wasn't. It was actually a very difficult shot, and he did a really good job. It was the illegal immigrants who saved Trump. And now you might think this is weird, but Biden's illegal immigrants saved Trump. Would you believe it? Because he looked up.
You say that because he pointed
he looked up at the screen in a split second because he was showing illegal immigrants.
And who said, okay, Donald, he's about to fire now. You've got the message. Okay, turn your head, and he's going to fire just a quarter of an inch next to your brain, okay?
It's absurd.
I was in on it, and I was Donald Trump.
No, but hang on a second. Let me just say this. It was a very difficult shot. I do a lot of, I won't say it, but I have had a lot of experience with firearms. It's a very difficult...
a farmer as well as being a former policeman.
All legally. All legally. But let me just say, it's a very difficult shot. The angle of it, plus the crowd, you've got to factor in wind. Like, it was a very difficult shot. And had he been a little bit better, he would have gone through that. It was literally, as Trump said, by the grace of God, that he turned his head at the right moment.
It was less than a quarter of an inch from hitting his brain.
It was millimetres. Millimetres from a
He'd also
civil
taken multiple shots previously. It's like JFK. Again, the handling of the investigation is almost as bad as the actual act itself when it comes to.
But there was a lot of planning. That's the point. There was a lot of planning for him to get as far as he did, and that's a very monumental, mammoth stuff up that he got that far.
The entire Secret Service in on it. They just turned a blind eye to it. It is the local cops who flagged him as suspicious, but not a person of interest. Was he in on the conspiracy theory? It's madness. What it was is
the nature of the cock-up was that the head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, didn't want him killed. But I don't think she would have minded a lot if he was.
That's true.
For 2 years, they knocked back an application to have more guards.
Yes.
2 of his bodyguards were women shorter than him, so the headshot was still available.